Hey there, it's Darlene. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my creative life. I am working on a 2-page layout plus pocket pages that's going to go in between that 2-page layout. I printed out 1/4 of an inch worth of photos from my granddaughter's birthday party, her first birthday party. Now, I didn't want to do a bunch of different layouts, so I grabbed some pocket pages. Now, most of these photos are vertical, so I only had 2 different choices. This one here that has the 4 at the ends and then the 4 3x4s in the middle, or the other one that had all 6 4x6s. I decided to use this one because I felt like it would have had a little bit more variety and also a little bit more fun with it. I probably didn't need to print all of these photos, but she is so adorable as she's eating the cake, and then eventually the cake is just all over her face. So I printed them. I may as well use them. The majority of these photos are literally just her, because we didn't have, or I should say her parents didn't have a big birthday party for her. It was just the immediate family, which both sets of grandparents, and then aunts and uncles that were actually home at the time. So again, all these photos are mostly of Janae herself, but she is just so cute, like I mentioned before. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put some of these in the pockets, what I think just kind of looks like the right place to put them. I didn't have a lot of Elmo or Sesame Street embellishments. Yes, I know I could have went out and bought some, but I made her little onesie with the Elmo on it. I bought an SVG file and it had a whole bunch of different Elmo cuts. So I went ahead and did print and cut to make a lot of different embellishments for these pages. I'm also using this bright color paper, and the pad is from, I believe, Hobby Lobby, but it's been years, so I could be wrong. I'll have to look again, and I'll put that in the information box. But I grabbed the red solid that was from that pad. You could see the kind of graph looking. And then later on, you're going to see I pulled out some star paper that was all kind of red as well. I figured that was the color of the Elmo, and it matched everything, and it was nice and bright. So these are the embellishments I talked about. So I, again, purchased some SVGs of Elmo, and I went ahead and converted them into print then cut, so that way I could just cut them or print them out, cut them as one layer versus trying to layer each one of these, because why do all that when you don't need to, especially because I needed a lot of them. And some of them were pretty small. You'll notice that, just like their, Elmo's head and things like that. But these turned out super cute. I wasn't sure how many to make, but I ended up making the perfect amount. So again, I'm just going to put these photos in where I think they'll look good for now. And also with the pattern paper or solid paper, I'm doing the same thing. And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it aside, because a lot of times when I do a pocket page like this, especially when it's an event that has a lot of photos, like weddings, things like that I've done it with, I'll do 12 by 12 layouts, one on the left side and one on the right side. So then this pocket page will be in the middle, so it all kind of coordinates. And so that's what I decided to do here. So again, for now, I'm thinking these are the embellishments, these are the pages that I'm going to do for the pocket pages, and now I'm just going to push it aside. So again, this is that red star paper that I was talking about. It's so pretty because there's also metallic paper within those stars. So pretty. I decided to cut one at, well, they're both going to be at 11 inches. And then one is at 10 inches, I believe. Yes, because I'm taking off 2 inches. And the other is 7 inches. Now, I cut it at the 5-inch line, but I'm using the 7-inch side. So I'm going to, you see how I have it all the way over to the right. And then the second one, I'm going to have that 7-inch piece just over there on the all the way to the left. So it looks like it's one long page, even though, like I mentioned before, I am going to have pocket page in the middle of it. It still coordinates, and you can tell it all goes together. So this is what I was talking about. I didn't want to go all the way over to 7. Look, it's really not that big of a deal, but I just kept the 7-inch side because I knew that's what I was going to use it for. But look at that. Isn't that so cute? And again, it just makes it flow so much better. I do end up using some of that star paper to decorate the pockets in the pocket page protector sleeves, whatever you want to call it, later, but you'll see that later. There's a lot going on in this video, and that's why my title was, I think it's Punches pocket pages, and the fuse tool. Oh my. I always do that whenever there's more than 3 items because we all think of Wizard of Oz, or at least I do. That's probably more my era. But so again, I had a lot of 4x6 pictures. I didn't want just a bunch of 4x6s. So a lot of these I cut down. The top one is 4x4, and I'm going to use a flip flap to add more photos because again, I have a lot of photos. And then that bottom one, I trimmed it down to 4.5. So I have that one 4x6 right above the title, which says 1 with Elmo's head as the O. And then that 4x4, which is going to be a flip flap, and then a 4x5. Now over there on the right side, I have 2 4x6s there. And then on that bottom corner, I'm going to end up cutting some 4x5. So 4x4 4 inches by 4.5 inches. And I'm also going to need some flip flaps there, which if you've used flip flaps, you know that they come in 3x4, 4x4, 4x6, 5x7. You know, there's a bunch of different sizes, but there's not a 4x4.5. And that's where the fuse tool comes in. But before we get to all that, I'm just kind of going real quick. What am I trying to do right here? So I know I need to decorate that more because I want it to coordinate with the stars paper. So you're going to see me going to go back and forth. And right now I know this is where I'm putting things. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some adhesive, and I've put it on a little bit quicker speed. So it's you don't have to watch it in real time. Otherwise, this video would be even twice as long. I do love the way the one looks with that paper, that graph kind of paper, because it has all the colors. But I felt like it needed something, and that's why I took out that corner rounder and I went ahead and punched the corners. So, well, to round them. That's why I have a corner rounder. And then I'm just kind of looking here going, okay, and I'm putting the adhesive on because like I said, I know I want these things in these particular place. But I also know in the back of my head is this kind of, I wouldn't say boring because it's got some really bright colors, but it just needs something. And so this is what I do. This is like you get your aha moment. And this is the punches part of the title. I decided to grab my different size circle punches. There's a 1 1/4, 1 inch, and 3/4 inch. And I'm just punching a bunch of circles out of like a bright yellow, bright blue, green, and red, because those are the colors that were in the paper line. And also, if you look at the cake, it's more of a Sesame Street cake versus a Elmo cake. So I have, or you could see the blue frosting, which is the Cookie Monster. There's an Oscar the Grouch, so there's green, so anyways, it's just bright. And look at how much better and festive and fun this layout all of a sudden gets just by adding those punched out circles. And I love this kind of thing because this didn't cost any additional money, because I'm just used some scraps and punched holes in, or punched circles out of them. So it wasn't going out and buying anything new, wasn't going out and creating or stamping or drawing, just real simple, just circle punches. Now, if you don't have all those different variety of punches, but you have a Cricut or even like a circle cutter, you could definitely use something like that. But look, I just love how different it looks with just adding those little circles there. So again, I have to copy that same style over to the right hand layout, because again, this is the left layout. And I also am going to add them to the pocket pages once I get there. And so you're just going to see me really quickly going through the right hand side layout. I'm just punching more circles because I used a lot of them for that left side page. And you can see there that the Elmo is one that's waving, so it's a little bit different than just the head that I had over on the other side. And I am going to do some journaling on that white square. That's the reason why it's just big and plain right there. I am going to draw lines and do some journaling. And I'm also going to round the corners on there because I did it on the other side. I thought, well, you know what, I may as well match it. But I like the way that turned out for sure. And with the magic of video, everything is adhered And look at that. So fun. I just really like those circles. I'm so glad I kind of just thought to myself, sometimes you just have to take your time and think, what thing can I do differently? Because it really would have been just kind of boring, right? So this is what I was talking about. I am going to do a flip flap here. And again, I have a 4x6 flip flap, which is going to be too big to put in that area because I cut these down to 4.5 by 4. And the reason why I did 4.5 because I didn't want to chop off my son's mother-in-law's head in these pictures. So I am going to get my fuse tool. I got this for Christmas. I was actually really excited. My husband is so cute because he always gives me something crafty. But when I say something crafty, I mean he usually gets me like glue sticks or sometimes like pens, something that he is simple enough to where he doesn't have to ask anybody like, hey, what's the latest and greatest, those kind of things, which I'm really good with. I think it's so cute and he always wants to do it. But this year, or I should say last year for Christmas, I actually put a fuse tool. I'm not even sure why, because I know they've been around for a long time, but I've never used one. And there's been like random moments where I thought, well, I wish I had one. It would really help. So I just put it down on my Christmas list and I did get one. And also, folks, realize it's May. This is the first time I've actually used it. So I checked out some YouTube videos because I just wanted to make sure. I did look at the fuse tool itself and looked at the instructions and tried to figure out exactly. But what I gathered was, so let the thing sit or get heated, warmed up, heated, whatever, for 15 minutes because that's when it's going to be like really hot. So I practiced some patience and waited 15 minutes. So that metal ruler is part of this set when you get the tool, and you just use that as a guide. The nice thing is I used my mat because it has lines on it as well, and I just kind of let it follow, and I just rolled it back and forth. I don't think I was putting enough pressure in some areas. That's why you could see me really kind of going back and forth and a little bit harder. I kept missing this one area, and I don't know if maybe I was getting too close to the ruler and maybe that was stopping it. And definitely user error. I am definitely going to have to use it a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I was so excited that I was able to do this custom pocket. And all I did was fuse part of the pocket. I didn't go any further than where it opened, where you put the picture in, and it worked fine. And I was just going to cut off the edge, and then I thought, well, I'm not going to cut that straight. Let me just use my cutter. So I did that, and I just cut just a little bit higher than where I fused it. You can see that there, and it works perfectly. I am so excited. Like I said, once I use something, I know I'm going to use it again pretty quickly after. I don't know why it took me so long to do this time, but whatever, it works. Now, if you've never used a flip flap, I put mine on the outside protector, which that way you can actually use it instead of having to take the layout out of the protector and then do the flips. So when I'm done with this layout, when I put it in the protector, I'll use or remove the liner of the adhesive and then put it basically exactly over where the other pictures are. So you can't see that bottom picture when you do flip and flap. But if you have used one, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So look at pretty much the layouts are done. I know I have to do some journaling, and I will get to that later. But like I mentioned before, she had a really small party with my other granddaughter. It was during COVID when she turned 1, so they weren't able to throw a big party because in our family, that was always the thing. First birthday parties, we're going all out. But because they didn't with the other daughter, they thought, well, for Janae, we'll hold off until her second. So anyhow, backstory on that. But so remember I mentioned about using that red star paper, and that's exactly what I'm doing at this point. I'm just going back in. Remember, I had put those papers and embellishments and photos in the different pockets and the page protector, the pocket page protectors. Now I'm going to go through and decorate. So there's really not much that I'm doing here. I'm definitely going to incorporate some circles now that I did them on the pages. I definitely want to do them here on the page protectors. So that's what a lot of those punches are. And I'm just going to glue those down and trim off the edges. That Elmo inside the circle is like perfect because it just coordinates, even though we didn't realize it was going to coordinate. I did put that extra like wallet size picture in there, so I got one more picture in there. I used all of that 1/4 inch stack of photos that I showed you in the beginning, and that was really good. Now I'm going to use this paper or this section for a journaling spot. So, these are 3x4 cutouts, so I'm cutting down to 2 3/4 by 3 3/4, and then just putting it right there. I decided I was going to use that graph paper underneath the big head of Elmo. Again, super simple. I'm not doing anything hard. It's just decorating it enough to be decorated. And it's okay that not everything has a purpose. I don't know if that makes sense, but because this one's a journaling card, so that's great. The other one held photo, which was great, but the one with the Elmo head, except for the Elmo head, there's nothing really about it. It's just an embellishment. It's just a way to make the page fun, and you don't have to do all the things in every single one of these little pockets. When I first started using the pocket page scrapbooking, it was freaking me out because instead of one big 12x12, I felt like there were, well, in this case, it would be 8 different, I'm using air quotes, layouts, because each one of these 4x6s is its own layout, as well as a 3x4. And then I realized, no, not really. I mean, in some cases, yes, but for the most part, no, it's still a 12x12 layout. It's just compartmentalized, right? You don't have to do all the things. Maybe you just really overdo it on, well, I shouldn't say overdo it, but, really get into it on one of the 4x6 pieces, blah, blah, blah. Basically, do what you want. So I'm basically going to do the same thing here. Just use those circles. Sorry about that. I had a little cough. So just using the circles to just add some decorative places. And I love how the circles, or some of the circles, are going off the edge. So when I cut them down, it just looks a little bit more fun and loose and like kind of almost like they just dropped, fell where they were and that's where they landed kind of thing. I don't know. It gives it a cuter look, I think. And I was just using some glue for all those so I don't have to get out my ATG for all these little pieces. Again, super easy. I'm going to try to add some more of the stars on this side because this is the back of the big pocket pages. And I'm just putting some strips, putting some adhesive down. I really don't know what I'm doing until I'm doing it. And that happens to be a lot, and that's okay. Kind of adds a surprise every time you get done with your layouts. But anyhow, I hope you like what I'm doing here. Like I mentioned with the title, lots going on with the punches, the pocket pages, and of course the fuse tool. And I end up doing the fuse tool one more time because I thought I had 4x4 flip flaps, and I don't. So I'm going to use them in that first, the left side page of the full spreads. But and I did a lot better on that one. So it's weird. I think it's just a matter of practicing, or the more you use it, the easier it is. But I'm definitely going to play with it a lot more because I'm really excited about it. I definitely want to do some shaker stuff with it. So you can look forward to those videos. But I hope you like this video. And if you do, give me a thumbs up. Hopefully you learned something, whether it was with the fuse tool, maybe it was with the pocket pages, or maybe you just like watching my granddaughter have cake all over her with these cute photos. But I do hope you, if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. I do post at least 2 videos a week. One is always scrapbooking. I think I kind of messed up this week because it's just been really busy. But I always do scrapbooking for one. And the second one is whatever it is I'm creating in my craft room, which is called the Command Center. And it's also the name of my blog. And I love to do it all. So if you're not sure or you want to learn a little bit more about me, you can go check out that intro video, or just check out my playlist, see what I'm doing. And if you'd like to see me work on something specifically, hey, leave me a message. I'd love to try something new. That's kind of my thing. I like to do different things because I just like being creative. And sometimes I film it. Most times I forget. But anyhow, it's a good time. But like I mentioned, I do hope you like this video. And please leave me a comment. Let me know if you did learn anything new today as far as anything that I've done with the punches, the pocket pages, the flip flaps, because not a lot of people do flip flaps, and also the fuse tool. So another thing I wanted to point out. So I'm using this one. I'm going to make it another journaling spot. So I make the 3x4 card, and then I did the red in, a little bit, so 2¼ by 3¼ And then did you notice that the white that I'm using, see that? It's the backside of this pattern paper because I don't want a bunch of scraps. So I figured instead of going out and finding a white piece of paper, which I use for almost everything, how about I use the back of this paper since it's solid white and it's, you can't see the pattern on the other side, and use that. And that way I don't have to put that piece in my scrap pile, and it does the exact same thing. It's white, which you can see that. So if you are somebody that, like same kind of thing, you're using scraps, or you know they're scraps and you don't want to just keep them, flip them over if there's white in the background. Now there's a lot of paper that are double-sided, so you can't do this, but if it's white on the background, or sometimes you get the ugliest paper and you know for a fact you're never going to use it, especially when you buy like big pads of paper. If the backsides are white, why not use it as white cardstock? So just another little tip there. I do that a lot, especially when I'm at crops and stuff, because when I go to crops, I don't bring like everything in the kitchen sink. I try to limit my stuff just because I just don't feel like carrying things up and down. My craft room is upstairs. But, a lot of times you go like, oh no, I don't have any more white, or I don't, whatever, right? Turn that paper over, use it. Or sometimes another way to use paper that you don't like, or scraps, is when you're testing sizes, like with the Cricut, or even testing stamps, things like that, pens, things like that. Pull out those scrap pieces of paper, because that way you just throw them out when you're done with it if it doesn't work out how you want it, right? So anyhow, another little tidbit. But here's the final pocket pages. Look at how cute. I just love the circles. I think it really makes it a lot of fun and festive. And again, granddaughter is adorable. But I hope you like this video. This is actually a really long one for me. I don't usually go over like maybe 10, 12 minutes. But this is how it's going to look in the album. So that full one on the left, then the pocket pages, and then that full one there on the right. I'm just waiting to put the flip-flaps on and also do my journaling. Put them in the album. And here's some final pictures. Thanks again so much for watching. I know it was a long one, and I appreciate you sticking it out. Thanks again. Bye.